So why not a baseball video? Why not? The biggest maniac in baseball by baseball doesn't exist. Let's watch
Dallas
that.
Braden only played 2 years of high school baseball, lived by himself in a motel in high school, slept in his car throughout college, got drafted in a round that is so low it doesn't even exist anymore twice, gave up on his dream to go pro to join the Marines, but still, somehow, despite not being able to throw a pitch over 90 miles per hour, accomplished one of the most heartwarming and unbelievable feats in baseball history while he was hungover.
Scale of 1 to 10, how drunk were you the night before?
It was drunk, quite drunk.
I sat down with Dallas Braden to
Fair
learn
enough.
about his inspirational and awe-defying journey where he somehow became an Oakland Athletics icon in a career that only lasted 4 full seasons. He told me why he punched his minor league manager, how he used to cheat with a medicinal product that was illegal in multiple ways, the time he
Wait.
tried to convince a
How do you
doctor
cheat with
to
weed?
put a baboon ligament in his shoulder because, quote,
Baboons have incredibly strong upper bodies. They swing, hanging and dangling from trees. That's got to be the strongest shoulder tendons going.
as well as his notorious beef
I mean, I see what he means, but what? Okay. I mean, okay. Can you even replace a tendon? Is that a thing we can do?
with Alex Rodriguez. It started after A-Rod got a hit off Dallas. The next batter hit a foul ball that just landed foul. A-Rod had to go back to first and decided to walk right over the pitcher's mound to get there. Braden thought this was disrespectful and told A-Rod,
Get the off my mound.
Braden continued to stare him down when he was at first, and a few moments later, after a double play ended the inning, he told A-Rod again,
Get the off my mound. He looked like, what? What'd you say? And I said, you heard me. I said, get the off my mound. Stay the off my mound.
When asked about it after the game, A-Rod refused to answer because he, quote, didn't want to extend Braden's 15 minutes of fame. When Dale Strawberry was asked about Dallas,
A secret
Braden, and
answer, I
A-Rod,
guess.
he responded by saying, quote,
The mound, that's
Dallas who?
disrespect. That's what I say, Dallas who?
and the New York Post called Braden a scrub and described him as, quote, on the way to journeyman status.
Yeah, that would have been nice to become a journeyman. That'd have been great. They that up. Didn't even get to journeyman status. Losers.
At the time, Dallas Braden was
Okay.
pretty much completely unknown. But just 2 weeks later, he and his grandmother would get the ultimate revenge on Alex Rodriguez. But before we get to that, a quick word from today's sponsor. Whether you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, going through a hard time, or just a human who goes through the everyday stresses of life, therapy can
Human.
give you the tools to approach your life
Sure, yeah.
in a very different
can,
way. That's why I'm
suggest as
happy
many
to
videos as you want.
present today's
I may watch
sponsor,
it.
BetterHelp.
Don't
I
hesitate.
consider myself a happy person, but even
BetterHelp.
I struggle with the stresses
I'm
that
not
come
saying
with
anything.
balancing work and everyday life. I often feel overwhelmed when it feels like there's endless amounts of things begging for my attention every day. So it feels
so
like
much
the
to
more I
do.
have to do, the
Help.
less I do, and that isn't good. If you're anything like me, therapy
I don't need
is an
baboon ligaments.
amazing way
I just need a
to
baboon to do
dedicate time to
the chores for me.
yourself, making all the other time you dedicate to other things that much easier. Finding the right therapist can make a huge difference in your life, but it can be hard. Depending on your location, options can be limited, but with BetterHelp's online platform, it's simple. BetterHelp can connect you to a therapist in as little as a few days, and it's easy. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/baseballdoesn'texist. Just answer a few questions, tell BetterHelp what you need, and they will work to connect
Maybe
you
that's why you
with
need a
the right
therapist.
therapist. If it's
you believe
not the
baseball
right
doesn't
fit,
exist.
they can easily get you a new therapist
You need some
for
help.
free without stressing about insurance. Clicking the link not only helps the
Maybe it's
channel,
actually a
but
perfect
also
sponsor.
gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. So if you were thinking about finding a therapist or just wondering if therapy could help you, do it right now. And thanks again, BetterHelp, for supporting the channel. Dallas's grandmother had a massive impact on his life and helped raise him in his hometown of Stockton, California, a city that has been ranked the most illiterate city in America. At one
All I know Stockton for is the Diaz brothers, right? In the UFC. Stockton, motherfucker, Stockton. Like, if you've ever seen Nate Diaz saying that, that's what I'm thinking. in the chat, the link won't work, but you can copy the title and paste it.
At one point, it had the highest foreclosure rate in America and was ranked by Forbes as the most miserable city in the United States 2 years in a row. Dallas says there were times he couldn't even order a pizza because delivery drivers were too scared to come to his neighborhood. Since he was 3, he had an obsession with baseball with a belief that he would one day go pro. But by the time he was through high school, that dream was completely over. As a freshman, Dallas was kicked off the team due to an altercation with his coach.
Yeah, essentially what happened was the balls got thrown out onto the field. He wanted to make us pick all the balls up, and then once we got done with that, we had to go on this run, and I was like, buddy, we ain't running. I ain't running. You are high. Like, it's in the morning, it's a weekend practice. Like, good chance you're probably hungover, which is why we're having this conversation.
Dallas's mother had worked multiple jobs, moved areas, and sacrificed a lot to keep him in baseball, and was not happy about this.
He made me sit out. I had to call my mom. She came and flipped out on him, and then flipped out on me. Her whole thing was, I don't care if you are bleeding. I don't care if you feel like the world is against you here. You've started something. You will commit until it's done. So I caught a hot one.
With the guidance of his mother and coaches, who literally bought him some of his equipment so he could play baseball, he returned to high school baseball his sophomore year. But his junior year,
I missed 79 of the first 81 days of school.
According to Dallas, he spent more time at the nearby college, Chico State, partying than most freshmen at Chico State spent at Chico State. He was a junior in high school. He also spent time in juvenile hall for fighting. But even while being ineligible to play high school baseball, Dallas was still able to play.
I played on a team we were called the Stockton Clash. It was very much like a Bad News Bears type scenario. We were legitimately a team made up of all kids who did not make grades, who were truant, just were not on the right path, but could play ball. And we would kick the out of people, and they would be very unhappy about it.
This team was completely funded by a coach who created it for kids who were ineligible to play high school baseball, including multiple players who played with ankle monitors because they were on house arrest. Thanks to this team and coach,
like kids with ankle monitors, that's a thing.
Dallas was able to travel and play against top tier and even older competition, giving him a chance to develop in a way that would have been impossible due to his ineligibility in high school. It was also a lot of fun.
Long story short, our guy stole home. It was a dropped ball. So we were like, what do you mean he's out? He dropped the ball. So then he was like, oh no, I called it a strike. It was strike 3 on the batter. We're like, well, it wasn't 3 strikes. It was 2 strikes, so he's not out. What's going on? Our coach had already been ejected. Coach comes in from right field and is arguing. The umpire bumps our coach, so our coach like kind of headbutted him with the bill of his hat, you know, boom. The umpire like dropped his mask and was ready to go, and our first baseman was not about to let his dad get cold-cocked, so he smoked the umpire. That umpire, another umpire, they're all getting after it. You know, dust is flying. The umpire's catching a beat down in front of the other team's dugout. You could see the faces of the team that we were playing, right? They're like, oh my God. And this,
I mean, we had watched that video about like how being an umpire is terrible in baseball, as it's almost like within the culture that you're gonna always get abused, attacked, insulted and everything. So this reinforced what we had learned in some other video.
Umpire's just getting stomped out, just stomped out. He gets up, starts threatening us, you know, you mother blah, blah, blah. Because I got something for you. He goes to the car. He's like, I'll be back, and I wouldn't be here when I get back. Somebody followed him in the parking lot.
He had a
loaded gun in his car.
Yeah.
So the cops get to the field. They catch him with the loaded gun. Turns out the dude was...
That's the thing, yeah, like, if someone threatens you like that in the US, you automatically assume they're gonna come back with a gun. Like, if someone did that in France, I'd assume they're coming back with, like, you know, their friends or just a baseball bat or something. Or just, like, a stick, but not a gun, yeah. So you wouldn't be as afraid, but, like, if I was in that situation, I would just leave right away because the chance of the guy coming back with a gun is pretty high, right?
Piss drunk at 8 o'clock in the morning. So he gets hauled off to jail. We don't even go back to the hotels to get our stuff. We leave.
Unfortunately, things
Ice
turned
hockey.
dark for Dallas.
Ice
in
hockey
his
is also
junior
pretty
year.
extreme,
His
right?
mother
I see
was
the video,
diagnosed
yeah.
with cancer, and as medical treatments intensified, he was forced to move into a motel that his grandmother managed, moving from room to room, living by himself in a motel while still attending school. His mother's diagnosis was a massive wake-up call, and with the guidance and help of both his mother and his grandmother, he completely turned his life around. He started attending school again, was able to play on the high school team his senior year, and focused on achieving
That's
his
nice.
mother's wishes, which was for him to be the first person in his family to graduate high school. At the time, Dallas had literally zero opportunity to play baseball at the next level. In fact, by the end of his senior year, not even the community college in his own city had interest in him playing for their team.
Did you ever talk to a scout?
As far as direct conversations, no.
Never visited a school?
Never.
Never got asked to visit a school?
Never.
Never talked to like a college coach?
I had one conversation with a coach. He was the home plate umpire for one of our high school games, and he was like, yo, where are you going to school? And I was like, I don't know. That school's an option, bro. Like, we're staring a 1.8 GPA in the face right now. Like, this is, yeah, it's a pipe dream.
Coming to terms that his dreams of playing professional baseball were over, Dallas signed up for the Marines, and during the spring of his senior year, his mother
And to be honest, this is already like a pretty amazing story. Like, you could make this into a TV show or a movie. It's already quite packed in twist and turn, right? Yeah.
tragically lost her battle with cancer and passed away. Dallas was able to achieve her wish of graduating high school and planned on going to boot camp shortly after. But right before he was scheduled to go, the impossible happened.
How did you get drafted?
I always joke that it was like somebody owed somebody a favor, and that was the bet that they lost. They're like, all right, well, I guess we're going to have to draft this guy now.
The Braves
Okay.
had never even spoken to Dallas, but in an event that is pretty much unexplainable, they took him in the 46th round of the MLB draft, a round that is so late it doesn't even exist anymore. The Braves didn't even call him to let him know. In fact, he was such an afterthought for the team, the scout who was responsible for drafting him just a few days earlier came to his house and tried to convince him to turn the offer down, saying he was too
Right.
small and underdeveloped and suggesting he should instead try to go to college.
But why did he draft him then? To then tell him, actually, I don't want you. Is it that they have a quota or something of player they need to find?
Dallas got into a car with his grandmother and drove an hour to American River College, and without scheduling a meeting or even calling beforehand, went to convince the coach to let him play for the baseball team.
What is that conversation like?
It was essentially, it felt like it was a waste of time and we were bothering somebody. What do you think when somebody shows up and is like, hey, do you have a baseball team? Like, it's pretty obvious you've done no research. Yeah, we have a baseball team, but I got to be honest with you, it's probably going to be an uphill battle for you.
The coach had never even heard of Dallas Braden before, but as he was
Yeah.
trying to tell him he couldn't play for the team,
My grandma goes, he was drafted. 3 words. He was drafted. Changed everything. He was drafted? Question mark? Yeah. Did you bring your glove?
Did you have a backup?
So
like
it's
if
that
they
good,
said
huh?
no,
Yeah.
0.
you think you would have gone to another school? And
Probably not. Nope.
It's like being drafted is like the official baseball thing, and so if you say that to like a school, I guess they consider you good.
Dallas did make the team and enroll. The school was located 1 hour away from his hometown in Stockton, but he decided to instead move in with family friends in Winters, California, where he shared a room with a 9-year-old while commuting 2 hours to and from school. Dallas
That's
chose to
what
live 2 hours from school so he could get out of Stockton and focus solely on making the most out of this opportunity. Due to the 2-hour drive and regular 5 a.m. weight sessions, Dallas would sleep in his car in the school's parking lot 2 to 3 times a week. On a regular day, he would wake up at 5 a.m. to lift weights, go to the cafeteria and steal food because he had no money, go to class, then go practice again, maybe go to class, and then do conditioning on his own, followed by a 2-hour drive back to his room, while also being a full-time student.
what did you study in college?
Crazy.
Baseball. For sure majoring in baseball. Like homework and that was just not something, no.
Dallas was treating
Got
baseball
it.
like a full-time job, dedicating his entire life to getting to the next level with zero backup plan, and it started to work out. He pitched well enough
I
to earn
respect it.
attention from D1 schools and was offered a scholarship
Obviously.
to Texas Tech University. However, his grades still weren't the best, so he may have gotten some help from his grandmother.
Did your grandma take your test for you to get in?
Look, Joe, it takes a village, right? It takes a village, is what we know.
Ow.
Allegedly, there's stories going around that she may have aced a math final, landed some D1 eligibility. She was really just kind of.
How does she take the test for you? I mean, isn't it like on location test? I mean, I'm guessing this was like, how does that work?
Setting the example here. This is what you would have done if you would have
But my
been in
grandma
my
is
spot taking this
a
test.
true
And I was like,
woman.
"You're absolutely right." Shout out, Grandma.
Dallas went to Texas Tech and worked his way into the starting rotation as well as the lineup in his first season. However,
Okay.
with an ERA of 4.58, Dallas knew he had a long way to go before going pro.
That's a good,
Until the Oakland
yeah, that
Athletics
is-
called him out of nowhere.
He was like, hey, it's Blake Davis, scout for the Oakland A's, blah, blah, blah. We're thinking about draft. And I just legit was like, man.
Dallas didn't even think it was real and not only hung up on the scout, when they called
Okay.
him back, he didn't answer. He
Oh my
finally
God.
answered the third time and was told by the Athletics they were thinking about drafting him. This was such a surprise he didn't even have an agent. He quickly got one through a friend, and in the 24th round, the A's drafted him. The chances of getting drafted
go.
this late and making the majors is so low, this round doesn't even exist anymore. Therefore, the A's only offered Dallas $20,000. His new agent thought he could get more, and after a few days
For
of
how much?
negotiations, the A's came back to Dallas
How much
with a
time?
new offer of $15,000. The agent effectively lost him $5,000 just by trying to negotiate. Most players would have just played their final year of college to
Well,
improve their draft stock, but Dallas
unfortunate.
was so determined to make the majors, he admittedly probably would have played for free. He accepted the offer and still had to pay the agent 5%. Dallas was most likely an afterthought for the Athletics, but shocked everyone in his first full season when he had more wins than anyone in the entire organization. Won pitcher of the
Okay.
year for the organization, yet still somehow wasn't even listed as one of the organization's top 20 prospects. Dallas was so focused on preparation, despite only making around $7,000 a year, paid a friend
year.
to travel from minor league stadium to
Okay, that's
minor
kind
league
of insane.
stadium with a camera to get game film on his future opponents. But being a pitcher throwing in the mid-80s, Dallas was aware his chances of going to the majors were a long shot. So after 3 full minor league seasons, when his minor league manager told him he was going to the majors, he legitimately thought he was getting pranked. When he realized it wasn't a
I get
prank,
it.
he
I
got
get
so
it.
pumped he punched his manager in the chest.
Right in the left titty. Just, dude, hey.
Dallas went to Baltimore, where he pitched 6 innings,
I guess there's worse place to punch.
only gave up 3 hits and 1 run, picking up the first win of his major league career. However, that success did not last. Dallas pitched in
Man, so it seems like on one hand he was like working super hard, right? But in the end, it seems like he wasn't really picked for working hard just by luck or to fill in. But then obviously, like, he still took that opportunity and was able to prove that he was worth it, right? But he got a lot of luck along the way of like them taking him in when he expected that no one would take him in.
19 more games that season and didn't get another win the entire year, all while being sent down to the minors and brought back up to the majors an insane 8 times in 1 season. During his last demotion, Dallas was so frustrated about being sent down again. Instead of beating the team in Tulsa like he was instructed, he went to New Orleans, where they were going to play the next game he started. When his manager asked him where he was, he said,
Sorry, Trick. I'm taking it easy in the Big Easy. I'll see you when you boys get to New Orleans.
he proceeded to get drunk without his team in New Orleans for 3 days. When the team got there, Dallas made a start but was on a 55 pitch limit. He proceeded to throw 45 straight fastballs while telling the batters what pitch he was going to throw.
So pissed
Okay.
at the time, Joey, that I was calling the fastball on the mound like an asshole. What are you doing, dude? Like, you need to be beat up for doing stuff like this. That's how pissed off I was.
He pitched 5 scoreless innings, took himself out of the game, and proceeded to go insane.
Went into the clubhouse, proceeded to drink a bottle of Wild Turkey, turned every shower we had on full blast, full heat.
Okay.
And I'm just sitting in the middle of the shower, piss drunk, screaming, "What the f am I doing here? What are we doing?" And my teammates grabbed multiple huge buckets of ice water and just doused me.
Dallas admits this may have been somewhat immature, but seemed to learn his lesson. The next year,
Well, you're
he
drunk.
was sent up and
That's
down
what happens.
another 5 times, but by the end of the season, Dallas hit his stride, and so did his personality. Surprisingly, he was chosen to be the A's opening day starter in 2009. He was also constantly talking to himself on the mound, trying to tell the ball what he wanted it to do.
Have to remind
Okay.
the baseball.
That sounds very anime. Damn. That's kind of funny. But again, sometimes, like, you know, in sports and stuff like this, like, the best people are the most fucked up or insane. Like, that's not that rare, right? Be it, you know, that they're really good when they're drunk, be it that they're, like, mentally unstable, you know, like, there's a thing where, like, to reach greatness, you just can't be normal. That's sometimes, like, something we've seen a lot, I would say.
Who the f***'s in charge here? I need you to hold plane and then dive. I need you to cut now. It's like How to Train Your Dragon, trying to, like, avatar latch into the baseball so that you can command it.
He ended April with the 10th lowest ERA in the major and was pumping himself up with smelling salts so often he once cut his hand with the fiberglass inside of one, bled everywhere, and had to leave a start early. Dallas, who was getting paid a major league salary, still elected to live in his hometown of Stockton, one of the most dangerous cities in America, driving over an hour to and from the stadium every single day just so he could keep the same blue-collar mentality the city was known for. Dallas was so passionate about his city, on days that he pitched, he came up with a promotion that allowed any Stockton resident who showed up to the game free admission. Dallas would pay for the ticket. He did so much charity work around the city, the minor league team in Stockton created a Dallas Braden Community Award. He also got 209 tattooed on his stomach. He was inducted into the Stockton Hall of Fame.
Interesting, because, like, early in the video, it didn't seem like he had such a connection to the place. I mean, he went to Winters, was it? I mean, it did seem like he was trying to get away from it, but maybe eventually, like, you know, he got fame and, you know, money and attention, so I thought maybe I can do something good and try to improve the city. I respect that.
And even got the key to the city. As he continued to pitch well, his local legend continued to grow. But once again, he was given another challenge to overcome. At first, he tweaked his groin. Then he was hit by a comebacker hurting his hand. Then he had to leave a game with a blister. Battled a stiff shoulder and a stomach bug in the same start. Then went down with an ankle rash. It turned out to be a cyst. According to reports, this minor injury turned into a nightmare after a doctor tried to remove it and ended up accidentally severing a nerve. Dallas not only missed the rest of the season, but according to this report, had to basically pitch the rest of his career without feeling in 2 toes. This resulted in a lawsuit against the doctor, and when he returned in 2010, the injuries in his ankle and shoulder didn't go away. Dallas had to do an intricate warm-up routine just to play catch, was so sore after he pitched, he couldn't even pick up a baseball for several days. In between starts, he basically just recovered and couldn't even practice. On days he did pitch, he had to take multiple prescription drugs just to limit the pain. And with no options but to pitch through it, Dallas had to get creative to get outs, even if it was borderline illegal.
Scrape your bong and roll that ball up. And now you've got that resin ball with you. Rubbed it on the heel of the glove.
He became a massive advocate of the medicinal benefits of marijuana, saying he still deals with side effects from the massive amounts of prescription medication.
So, like, on one side, I get it. He has a ton of terrible pain that are making his pitching worse, so, like, weed will definitely help him, like, you know, not feel the pain or deal with the pain, but on the other hand, weight like calms you down a lot, right? So I feel like it would make your pitching worse because you're less energy. You've got less energy. You're more chill. Like I understand it would help with the pain, but on the other hand, I feel like it would make you even like too chill to pitch correctly.
He was given and found that the anti-inflammatory benefits that come with cannabis come with a lot less long-term side effects. But he used it on the field for other reasons. Dallas has come clean about using foreign substances, a common practice amongst pitchers. But one of the ones Dallas used isn't as common. He says he would take weed resin from a bong, bring it to the field, apply it in his glove, and use it as a foreign substance that would give him a better grip throughout the game. Dallas entered.
Wait, so he wasn't smoking it, he was using it for like, you know, for grip? This video is so long. I think it's about the same as the last video.
2010 riddled with the lingering effects of injuries. However, it just so happened to be his best year and quickly became his most eventful. He was slowly becoming one of the A's best options on the mound, and with an ERA under 3 through his first 4 starts, he acted like it when he called out Alex Rodriguez for stepping on his mound. This caused a media frenzy, and after the game, he doubled down.
But he will know I was out there, and he will know to not do that again, because there will be repercussions if it happens again.
Even his own general manager called Dallas to tell him to stop talking about A-Rod. For most fans, this was probably the first time they ever even heard of Dallas Braden, and much of the talk surrounding the incident criticized Dallas for being a nobody who would soon be forgotten. 2 weeks later, that all changed. Dallas was scheduled to start on Mother's Day in 2010, but ever since his mom passed away...
Dealing with Mother's Day, like that was just not a fun day, not a fun time of the month.
Dallas was feeling depressed, didn't want to pitch the next day, and decided to have some friends over.
Mini beers, there were bottles. It was a get after it session. I had college players at the house with me. I don't know that there is a worse example to set. You're going to pitch the next day, and you get faced with these guys. What are you doing, dude?
On a regular start day, Dallas showed up to the park 5 hours before the game. On this day, he accidentally slept in.
I didn't leave until like 11 for a 1 o'clock game.
Oh, damn.
And I'm an hour away from Oakland.
He arrived to the stadium an hour before the game started.
Our video guy was losing his mind. Bro, where have you been? What have you been doing? I had the videos pulled up. I had the lineup in play. Like I had everything. What have you been doing?
He immediately had to start warming up for his start and felt terrible.
Why is it so hot out here when it's not? It's 72. I'm just sweating.
This really is what it is, right? He's one of those guys that like do better when the conditions are terrible, right? So like being totally hungover and everything just makes him weirdly better.
Face off. Dude, I don't think I threw a fastball over 90 miles an hour.
He didn't throw a fastball over 90 miles per hour. But about 2 hours later, he was in the 9th inning and hadn't allowed a single base runner. His grandmother was so excited she left her seat and literally watched the final inning standing on top of the Oakland Athletics dugout. Dallas retired the last batter and went right for his grandmother, celebrating the 19th perfect game of all time. After the game, his grandmother told reporters, quote,
wait, he kind of went fast with this, and obviously I don't know baseball that deep, but like, so he was throwing slow pitch, but still no one was able to hit him, and so he did like a perfect run. How does that work?
Stick it, A-Rod. He went from being completely unknown to cementing himself in baseball lore forever within a 2-week span. Him and his grandmother went on a media tour, and his story was told everywhere. Dallas would go on to throw 4 more complete games that year and finish with a 3.5 ERA. But by the end of the year, his shoulder was killing him. At the start of the next season, his shoulder was still killing him. Turns out he needed surgery. After over a year of rehab and after setback after setback, it was clear something was seriously wrong. He got another surgery and missed another season. Dallas tried everything to come back, even asking his doctor if there was any validity in the idea of getting a baboon ligament put in his shoulder to strengthen it.
Okay, like, now with the context, this makes a lot more sense. I get it. Like, he had some extreme problem, and so you know, my man was probably like at 3 a.m. Googling, like, you know, what animal has the strongest ligament? Can you implant into a human? Stuff like that. I get it. I get it.
Turns out that wasn't possible. At 30 years old, almost 3 years after he threw his last game, Dallas retired due to injury. Shortly after, he became a broadcaster at ESPN, landed a job with Barstool Sports, and shortly after became the full-time color commentator for the Oakland A's, while
awesome.
also doing a baseball podcast 3 times a week with me, Jarek Arabas, Justin Havens, and the $1 million producer, Jake, called Baseball is Dead, which you should go listen to right now. Despite the injuries cutting his career short, Dallas says he has no regrets. He gets to work in baseball every day, and that's more than he could have ever dreamed to have.
That's pretty amazing. That's like a good example of, like, you know, someone who like burns, like a flame that burns very fast but super bright kind of thing. So like super short career, but, you know, left a mark, left an impact. Very good video, awesome story. I mean, I really enjoyed that. I think that was a great story. I love how movie-like it feels. I mean, it would be a perfect movie, right? The up, the down, and, you know, the ending. I mean, great stuff. Great stuff. Super interesting. Make an anime out of it now. Make an anime out of it.